So the last trend is probably the most controversial, and I get a lot of this stuff from a guy named Thomas Bechtel, and he kind of at least first inspired me to start thinking about this area. And it's social media after Facebook domination. And there's a few categories to touch on. First, I recognize that Facebook is king. All measurements seem to show that. Portals like Yahoo, MSN, AOL, things like that. People spend about 16.7% of all time on the internet on these channels. But that's trending downward as Facebook is growing, and it's now just about equal. As you can see in this chart, the top blue line is the portals declining, and Facebook is the lighter blue just below that. And that's catching up. And if the trend continues, Facebook is going to overtake the portals. Basically, this is just one of many statistics that show that Facebook is very dominant. Just their user base, their internet time, But all that being said, how can I make an argument for a post-dominated Facebook world? And this is more conceptual than even practical sometimes, but I think it's important to start thinking long-term ahead to start preparing now for what that future might look like. So right now we're seeing custom niche social platforms, as I kind of mentioned earlier with Starbucks, emerge. We see other examples with Live Strong, building Facebook functionality on their website. We see it like with Lady Gaga really catering in their social network to kind of music, pop culture niche. There's an accounts receivable social network that I was just talking to someone the other day about. They built this whole social network just for accounts receivable people. And then there's this, one of these larger banks built a whole mortgage network that was anonymous, which is unusual for social networks, but they're trying to give support or allow consumers to help each other, in this tough foreclosure market where people have gotten kicked out of their homes and how to recover and help with that. And it's catered to that industry. And then Ning allows you to kind of build really social enabled websites. And it's kind of an early, less mature example of how to get into the space, but it allows more people to start building social enabled websites. So I see agencies like RGA, building these custom social platforms for these large brands. And I think that we will, the reason why they're able to exist is because they offer more functionality that is specifically catered towards the needs of that community. So like that Starbucks example I talked about earlier. Another reason why I think we'll start seeing more of this is for industries like medical, finance, Department of Defense that are highly regulated or restricted in ways that they need to have more safeguards put up. So like I had a client come to me and at our agency that needed to roll out a social media campaign, but they couldn't use Facebook, they couldn't use Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And so you think about how the heck are they going to, be social? Because that's people equivalent social with these platforms. But social is not tied, doesn't have to involve those platforms. And that's where I think that we see a growing trend that people are building their own stuff for specific reasons on their own platforms. And I also see a trend with an interest graph social platform, so it's kind of in the same vein. You see sites like Pinterest where people are connecting more on mutual hobbies like baking or traveling or something, rather than connecting with people that they know personally. People that I went to high school with, for example. I think we'll see a growing trend with that. Google Plus is trying to tap into that same kind of mentality where people are connecting based on stuff they like to do rather than just people that they knew in real life. And if you think about people trying to, right now, a lot of big brands that spend money on traditional advertising, like TV commercials, for example, are trying to swap their traditional spend with their digital spend. So if you think about, like, just to give a practical example, say you have 60% of your budget going towards traditional and 40% going towards digital, and say you want to swap those. It's a lot of risk to do that right away because we've had 40 years to figure out TV advertising and to really refine and make that happen and make sure it gives the return that we expect for it to support our business. We've only had social for a short period of time or digital for a short period of time. So it's risky to just swap it right away. But this is where they want to go. As soon as it's a little bit more tried and true. And I think these custom social platforms is one place that this extra money will go. And then we see platforms versus content production. So you can either be the content producer and really kind of drive engagement and relationship with customers that way, or you can be the platform that the conversations happen on. And again, we see the examples of HTML5 and GoPro and becoming a platform that allows crowdsourcing earlier. And I think this kind of just will help fuel this kind of transition away from Facebook being the one dominant king. And we see a growing dissatisfaction and dissent from Facebook. So this is research from 4C, and we see that Facebook and Twitter are at the very bottom of the brands that they measured. Not only that they are at the bottom, they're the fastest declining brands that they measured. So people are not happy, and in large part it's due to privacy problems, imposed rules like EdgeRank and other things like that, and just kind of not really caring at all about some of their users. So people are going to start wanting to look for, people use Facebook because they have to, because everyone's on Facebook, but as soon as you start to transition or have alternatives, people are ready to start to switch to alternatives if they're presented. I think these custom platforms will help provide alternatives. And right now, social is defined by not by what we do, but by where we do it. We're in the era of platforms. I think that in the future we'll start to see social move away from being a platform where I go to Facebook to be social, and it'll start to be a feature everywhere. Just like gamification should be a feature everywhere, I think social will be as well. And we see this platform war where each of the social networks are trying to build this fence around their platform so that people don't leave, because they all have investors and they're all trying to make money and they're all trying to grow bigger and bigger. And we see this kind of walled approach between Twitter and LinkedIn, and how if you are on LinkedIn and you try to follow someone on Twitter, it doesn't link you over to Twitter. It just allows you to follow them within LinkedIn, and Twitter won't be shared through other platforms because they want you to come to Twitter and stay on Twitter. And Facebook's the same thing with with the stuff that they do. I mean, there's a whole host of these types of things that are all through these platform wars, and there's a whole long list of these things. And I think that we're going to start to see a switch. Basically, I would equivalent that to the original story of like email, for example, where in the old days with email, you could only email people within your network. So say like at your company, you can only email people within your company, and that has very limited uses. It creates walls around anyone who uses a different protocol. But it made it much more effective once that protocol was standardized. It basically allows technology A to talk to technology A, rather than having an A and a B. They all standardized so that everyone can communicate with everyone, and it created a better experience for everybody involved. So that'd be like today's social networks are a lot like the original email, and I think we'll start to see this move towards everything working together. And we see early examples of that with like instant messaging, for example, where you used to have to go to AOL, Instant Messenger, to be able to communicate with other AOL users, and you couldn't have it work with any other providers. But now we see a lot of new tools that will bring in your instant messaging from Google and with Skype and with AOL or AIM or with other, and it'll all funnel into one thing. And we see the evolution of TV, where they used to have to produce different types of TV content for different types of TVs and broadcasters, and it's all been standardized. And we see the same thing. Imagine with blogs, if you had to sign up for a WordPress account just to be able to view the WordPress stuff, or a blogger one to just view blogger blogs, or a Tumblr blog to just view Tumblr blogs. It'd be like having to have, you could only communicate in email with Gmail subscribers, and then Yahoo could only email with Yahoo users. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it started off, and that's the way a lot of these technologies start off. If you look at like cell phone chargers, they all used to be different because they were all proprietary phones that each company came up with their own solution, but eventually they standardized because it just makes sense to be able to work together. And so a practical example, we could see things like you can follow your Facebook friends from Google Plus, or when you reply to a Twitter direct message via Facebook, or and I think soon it'll be as easy to follow a brand's website as their Facebook page. And I'm not talking about cross-posting. I'm talking about where you can read the whole New York Times article on Google Plus. It's not just a link on Google Plus that goes to their website. It allows you to be completely social and connect with the content you're looking for wherever you want to connect with it. And so another example of this could be like, you post a blog post on Blogger, and it will also post it on Google Plus automatically. And then if someone comments on Google Plus, it will also post it back on Blogger. And I think that all interactions, like comments and plus ones and likes and all that, will stay with the content, not with the platform. And we see, I guess I pointed out, like, USBs and whatnot all converged in this way, where they all became standardized so that you can have a USB port, plug work with all USB things on all computers and devices. And I think that's the way social will become, because the user experience will be greatly enhanced, and everyone involved, even though Facebook and Google and Twitter are all enemies right now, I think that this will enhance the user experience and enhance the business eventually, for all of them involved. It'll take us a while to get there, and I think the early framework that we can maybe root for is with Google Plus and with Google's offerings. So, right now we see a protocol across Gmail, Google Plus, YouTube, and Blogger, for example. And I don't think it will be too much longer before, if you post a YouTube video on Google Plus, if someone comments on it, it will also cross-post over to YouTube or onto Blogger. And I think that since Google has so many services and so many offerings that are outside of just their strict social network, I think that we'll see this could be an early start to the framework to really start seeing this transformation. And unlike Facebook and Twitter, I think that Google has the ability to do this. And we already see YouTube being plastered across the entire web. If Google Plus is able to follow suit with that, I think we can start to see this trend. And again, this is still a destination, it's still a platform, but I think it'll start to lead us down the road to be able to get there. And so this combination of custom social platforms will create the need for Facebook and Google and Twitter to be able to connect with niche audiences that are on these other platforms, to start to make their offerings more of a protocol that works with these other platforms rather than proprietary, which is what they're currently doing. So that's a lot of, I hope, thought-provoking things. I want to kind of wrap up. And I got a lot of inspiration and some ideas and some research from a lot of these people on here, and I want to make sure I give them credit for the stuff that they're doing. And if you have any questions, please let me know on any of the social channels, or you can go ahead and give me a call or email me if you would like as well. And my Twitter handle there is mrobertsonline. You can find my blog at allegoredesign.com, or find me on LinkedIn. And all my other social channels you can find on my blog. So hope that was helpful. Again, my name is Mike Roberts. I would look forward to interacting with you, and look forward to 2013. Let me know what you think about this.